Well, hello, 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 my darlings. Back with the Great Ugly. Now, this is week 9 of my 100 days challenge for my personal Great Ugly. I'm getting in just under the wire. I've searched and searched for ideas, and I came across, a save for later video that I'd saved and apparently didn't go back and watch from Margreth over at Seven Plaza. I'll link the video down below in the descriptions. But one of the ideas she had, she calls it a tag, pocket tag. And let's see if I can get something under here to hold this up. There we go. So her idea is to just make it a tag with extra pockets in it, made from 6x6s. So today I've decided to experiment a bit more with some extra sizes, and I'm really growing into this idea. I can't believe it's something I've not come across before, or not something I've ever done before. So I'm really happy with the way this one has turned out in the Great Ugly. So I hope you stick around and grab you some old 6x6s that are perhaps a little less loved and have a play along. So back in a moment. And right, my darlings, let me show you what I've got pulled together here to use for this idea. Now, the original idea I saw on Margreth's channel over at Seven Plaza, one of her videos I had saved, I think it was her 100-day challenge from back April 2023. And she called it a tagged pocket. Now, to me, that looks like a tea bag. So, to me, it's like a tea bag pocket. And this is a mock-up, of course, not glued together, of using just one piece of 6x6. So you fold it up over here, up here, so you then have a tag going in to the side, a tag there, and a tag there. And that's just from a piece of 6x6. I did it again on a slightly bigger piece. That was a 5.5 by 8 that I found. These were just me playing about. Then I had to play on doing the same thing with just an A4. So I decided for the Great Ugly, I'm going to try something else. So the original concept that I saw in her video was just to make this as like a stuffed tag to go into a pocket. And she's just put washi tape there to disguise the punch notch because it's single-sided paper, and then there to disguise that notch because it's white on the other side. So I quite like that idea. So I'm going to try it in 3 different sizes because I'm thinking it can be as a tag to go in, but it can also be glued down to create different types of tucks as well. So I've got a few pieces of less loved paper. So I've got, that was a 12 by 12, which I've cut down to 10 by 10. I've got an 8 by 8 and a 6 by 6. And so I don't know if it's going to work with the flowers. I think that's why I left that one out. So let's have a go. And this is single-sided, and I just got a piece of pink washi out to do this project. So I want to do the same method with this piece, that piece, and the big piece, and we'll see if we can't get that big piece into the book, glued into the book. So no measuring, no cutting, apart from the fact that I trimmed that 12 by 12 down. I've got a punch, I've got some ink, I've got scissors, which I may not even need. Well, yes, I do. To do the tag shape at the top, and some glue. That's all you need. So, of course, I'll save my little ones unglued to go in there as examples to my future self. So fold in half that way, and then just eyeball it and fold it up. I'm going maybe a little bit over 1 inch. There we go. And then you just need a tag chopped out of that bit on the front. Pop that in. and a tag popped out. Where do I want it? About there. Of course, you could use your envelope punch. Oh, that was not happy. Oh, please don't be broken. Oh, there it went. There we go. Let's chew that up a little bit, but it's fine. And then washi then goes down onto the inside of that top flap, or the flap behind there, to disguise the fact that it's white. Might help if I turn it around so I can see it. There we go. And then you want that bit there covered up. Or not covered up, you're just disguising that edge for the fact that the inside of the pocket is white. Not pocket, tuck. Pocket. Kind of use it interchangeably, don't you? And then cut those notches at the top. And that way, and then flip that over and line it up on the other side. I'm sure most of you out there have seen this trick before. And there we go. That one's folded, ready to go. That just needs inking now. We'll do it in stages, shall we? Yeah, we'll do the inking, ink, then glue, then I'll put an eyelet in it. So let's get these folded up. Now, these papers are omnidirectional, so I don't know if it's going to work with this, but I'm going to try. So if I fold, this is a 8 by 8, so that's a 6 by 6. This now is an 8 by 8. So, in half, fold this bit up, sort of proportionally the same. So I don't know if anybody out there, have you done these type tag pockets before? Are they just called tag pockets, or is there another name for them? So that one's not quite scented, but that's okay. And then I want one just below that flower. There we go. And let's get some washi onto that one. And I'm cutting the wire really close now for this week for my Great Ugly. I got wrapped up with some other things and thought, oh no, I haven't done this week's Great Ugly. And it's sort of my personal 100 days challenge. There we go. Do this facing me, because I keep wanting to lean my head over so I can see. There we go. And that needs a whack off the top. And that tag shape off the top. So, yes, the Great Ugly is really, really filling up now. So I'm thinking, am I going to make it to the end and find enough ideas to go in there? But I will. I found Margreth's original video, so I will link that down below. I did get a bone folder out because I think I might need it with this scrapbook paper. So same principle. I'm going to fold it, do it towards me now so I can see. I'll put a link to her original video, and in the video she's got several examples in there. She's got 2 tagged pocket examples in there, but this one I really fancy, and just think how would it work on a larger scale glued to a page. because we're always looking for different page layout designs. So I want that sort of proportional to what the others sort of look like. And I'm wondering if this cardstock is going to do it. Oh, and the other thing I got out were those hole reinforcers. I didn't get out the full page because the pages are huge. I just got out a few. So let's get the notches in that one. See if I can actually do it in the middle this time. Just guesstimate. There we go. And then I want one sort of there, I think. Isn't this paper just glorious? Again, some of the paper I find in my treasure hunting secondhand. Get some tape onto that one as well. Don't want the tape to go all the way across. Yeah, I'm not going to be too super fussy because it is just to go into the Great Ugly, just for me, just so that I can flip through and think, oh, I remember that. I remember that idea. Let's have a go with that idea. And all of these papers have come from different kits, but they've all got this like hot pink somewhere in it. So I thought, let's go with pink. Because I don't want to use up all the nice washi tape either, do I? Use up what I call the kids' washi tape. There we go. And get some corners onto that one. Flip that over. And there we go. Right, before I'm going to stop there for a second and I'm going to ink. So I'm just going to go back and ink all the way around and ink in here. And I won't make you suffer through all of that inking. But I'm quite literally just going to ink going all the way around that exposed side. And I'll jump back on then when everything is inked. So back in a sec. Right, and all inked, all the way around. I've inked those on the back as well, because you could add another piece on the backs of these, really. That one I'm not going to do anything on the back because I plan to attach it to the page. It has a sort of giant tea bag pocket. Tell me if you disagree, but I still think it looks like a tea bag. So next now is gluing. So to glue these, you glue this first, if I remember correctly. So glue that side down. Yep. Let art do its thing. And then you glue, actually let's do it, let art do its thing a second. Because I don't want that to shimmy at all. Because you're not cutting very precisely. The thicker paper wants to pull away at the edge and reveal a bit of white. But on a more finished one, of course, I would have the washi going all the way across the opening. And the thinner paper, of course, is going to marry up better when folded than the thicker paper. So once that little bit's done, you want to glue the top here. So you're going from there all the way down to there. So you're basically closing up this top void bit. So I've glued from that corner up over the top and then down to that corner. And then glue that flap shut by going up these two sides here. So yeah, if anybody's, this is probably a really old idea. Like I said, Margreth called them tagged pocket tags. But to me, it genuinely looks like the shape of a tea bag. So, but I quite like the shape. And of course, if you want, this is, of course, it's going to have to go on the right-hand page in the book because that tuck is on that side. But you've got one, 2, and 3 spaces in it. And then depending on how it gets put on the page, you'll have another tuck behind. So I can't believe I've never come across this one before. Or, well, apparently I did come across it, and I saved it on a list, and I never went back. So, worth going back and visiting your watch later lists if you do that sort of thing. So, glue this one down, and then, of course, get a rivet into the top. And I do apologize, I didn't get the eyelets out when I gathered all my materials up earlier. But again, if you don't have eyelets, if you don't have a crocodile or a hole punch, you know, there are other ways of making holes and using these little hole reinforcers you can get in most stationery places, and they're not expensive at all. And you can color them. Here we go, get this last one glued down. So you just got to imagine this made with much prettier paper. Because the Great Ugly is very much... Well, when I made the Great Ugly, the idea was to use up as much of this unwanted, unloved paper as I could. So that then will sit beautifully in there, stuffed. And that will sit in there, stuffed. And the whole thing will sit on a page. So let's get some eyelets in there. So these little paper eyelet reinforcers to repair like loose leaf paper are... That's stuck to me somewhere now. There it is. It's just paper, so you can color them. I've just gone over this one with a black Sharpie because it was the one thing I had to hand. I've got really cheap eyelets here. I don't want to use my good eyelets. Use these cheaper ones just to make the point, I suppose. So use this to, you know, sometimes I've ordered eyelets off Amazon. They're not expensive ones. And they come and they're like really, really good. And then you order some and it's like, they're like this. They're really crappy quality. But never mind. I'm not measuring for this. I'm just eyeballing it. So, eyelet hole reinforcers. And that's not going to work, is it? I'll do it anyway. Because those eyelets aren't that big. Now, I know you can get die cuts to do different shapes of these out of paper. Again, Margreth up at Seven Plaza, I've seen her use them. I've seen other paper crafters use them. They cut them. You can get die cuts to cut out different shapes of these out of card. That's going to look daft. Does it? No, it actually does cover it. Let's have a go. And squish. I have a love-hate relationship with the crocodile. And sometimes they're still jagged on the back. I'll give those a whack with a hammer before they go in the book. Oh, I gotta sneeze. Hold on, give me a second. Oh, right. Sorry about that. Sneezing my head off. But never mind, it's that time of year. And as I've gotten older, I've realized I'm turning into my grandmother. Sneezing and everything. There's two down, one more to go. So yes, if anybody out there watching, if you have come across this sort of style of pocket, or have you done versions of it to use on a larger scale on a page, please let me know. Sorry. Right, so that's me. I need to clear the decks here, get the Great Ugly out. I've got the 3 different size versions to go in the book. Not sure how they're going to attach the page yet until we get the book out. I've got my notes and my random 3 pieces that I played with. And I might put a few of my other notes in there. But to be honest, it doesn't really need much notes. Like on that one, I've just put a wiggly line with pencil to sort of indicate what needs to be glued. You glue those 2 sides, but it's kind of obvious, really. So, yeah, let me get the Great Ugly out, clear everything away, and I'll be back in a tick. Right, here we go with the Great Ugly. Oh, my word, this is a behemoth. I'm going to have to make a dedicated home for it in this craft room. So, let's go through. I did have a page picked out here. Not that one. And there it is. Just spotted it. There, on here. So, it is a behemoth now. I'll try to film it the best I can. Can I get something under here? Hold it up a little bit. That might help a little bit. Right, so on this page, I want to attach the large one. And then work out what's living inside. What's going to live in these pockets. So yeah, let's just go for it. So what's going to go behind that? I put my A4 example behind. That's not going to be too much of an issue pulling out. So yeah, let's just do it as a tuck. Is that going to fit in there? I'm going to bring it down. Yeah, let's just center it on the page. I got plenty of room. Yeah, let's center it on the page like that. So, here we go. I'm going to go just down this side. So this would all work just as well on a left-hand page. You would just need to remember when you were making them to put the punches on and to fold it from the beginning onto the other side. Is that something that anybody else out there sort of finds themselves doing? They end up with more interesting things on the right-hand pages than on the left-hand pages. And if you are left-handed, do you find it the other way around? Because like when we started these, you're folding your paper this way first. Well, that seems more natural to me. But is it because I'm right-handed, or does it matter? That seems more natural than doing it that way. Because these will work for either page. You've just got to make sure that side punch and your first fold is the other way around. I guess it's just having the forethought to think of it, I suppose. So yeah, just on that one, I've gone back and written glue, 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 glue. Washi goes there, washi goes there. This was made from an A4, so that can stick down behind. I haven't put any sort of lace or anything through the eyelets, but that could be done afterwards. Do I want to stuff these pockets? Yes, I do. Right. Sorry for the bother. I'm going to pause there, see what I've got laying around nearby that I can stuff in these pockets. Back in a moment. Right, and I've got some random, I mean, quite literally random bits of scrap and stuff stuck into these now. So I've got bits in that back pocket, bit to go in that front pocket, just to show that they are meant to be stuffed pockets, and a piece of old file folder in the side. So I've got that white example stuck in the back. I want to put that one then into the side. And then my little one that's stuffed with randomness into that back one. That oddly shaped one, because again, I rounded corners on the top of that rather than cut it into a tag shape. Stick that back there as well. And then my first piece that I mocked up watching, pardon me, Margreth's video, that's not glued together, but it's got the date and the name of her video on there, and I'll get that in a link down below. I'll put that in the front pocket. So no, I'm quite liking that idea of sort of all gathered up, of using different sizes. I think looking at the A4 and looking at that yellow one, I think it definitely has a better proportion and effect using a square piece rather than a rectangular piece. But then this could be embellished even more here, having tags and bits of sorry or something stuck out of the eyelets would be quite effective as well. So now I'm happy with that. And if you stuck with me this far, thank you ever so much. This is The Great Ugly. I don't think there's anything nearby here. I think I've covered those. And that's the hidden scrapboard paperclip. I think I've covered that one. Anything nearby here? No, that's in The Great Ugly. So I know I've covered that as well. So now, that's it for me. This week is the week 9 of Rachel's 100 Days of Junk Journal Idea collaboration. So if you're following the 100 Days of Junk Journal Ideas, please check it out, because this week is all about eco and upcycled junk. So my little baby channel now is on Monday this week for that. And stick around, keep an eye on the channel, because my next idea to experiment with somewhere in this book is, ready for it? Beer cans. My husband loves these like different types of like IPAs and things like that. But the artwork on the cans are absolutely gorgeous. So there was one called Faith, and sort of I've cut it out of the can, you know, giving it a wash, and just cut it out with, you know, regular scissors. So the next idea, hopefully this week, for The Great Ugly will be to see what I can do, if anything, with these. Not something I've ever worked with before. So watch this space. But thank you, everyone. Thank you ever so much for watching. Leave me a like, leave me a comment, and hope to see you back again soon. Bye for now.